Good morning, good afternoon, boys and girls, and everyone else around the world. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to thank everybody who's joined us here on our emergency management program this afternoon. It is just after 5 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States time zone. I wanted to come on the air, and if I hadn't come on the air, I would have felt derelict, because we've had a good deal of earthquakes today that we need to talk about. The first one I want to talk about, folks, wait till you see this. I'm serious. Wait till you see this one. Over in the northeastern part of the United States, Concord, Massachusetts, there has been a 2.7 magnitude earthquake that hit late last night. The problem being, they're calling it a 2.7. Look at this seismogram reading. USGS said it had felt report of a 5.0. People felt like their house was going to come down. That was what they said. People felt like their house was going to come down or had gotten hit. This was much more than a 2.7. As I have explained before, a 2.0 to 2.9 earthquake usually is just a minor earthquake. That's all it is. 2.0, 2.9 considered to be a minor earthquake. Usually nobody feels these earthquakes. Depending on the ground that's there in the area around Concord, it could be traveling, the seismic wave could be traveling further as a result of the ground in that area. However, this was a strong earthquake. I believe this is actually a 5.0, exactly what USGS said it felt like. They can lie through their teeth and tell people it was less than that. But folks, look at this. Look at this seismogram. This earthquake wave right here, this primary wave, said it was much more than a 2.7. Okay? A much stronger quake. That's all I can say. USGS can call it anything they want. They're full of crap. And I've been talking about crap for USGS for a very long time. And this is not the only one. Let's go over to the Owens fracture zone. Remember me telling you yesterday about a 6.1 earthquake that hit south of Africa. South of Africa on the Antarctic ridge. Yesterday I told you that that 6.1 energy was going to further go up the Antarctic ridge over here to the mid-Indian Ocean. And that's exactly what it has done. But the problem is, this is not a 4.9 as the USGS wants us to believe. Look at what I have to show you here. This is what it came out as. You can see the 5.5 magnitude earthquake that it came out as. Then they downgraded it to a 4.9. They downgraded it to a full half magnitude. Down below even a half magnitude of what it was. That 6.1 in the southern Antarctic Ridge area yesterday has already traveled up here to the Owens Fracture Zone near the Gulf of Oman and south of Iran. That was seismic energy that traveled very fast. I honestly did not believe that this energy from the southern Antarctic Ridge could travel up here to the Owens Fracture Zone area that quick. I thought it might take 2 or 3 days. It took less than 24 hours. And USBS downgraded it to 4.9. The 0.9 society is alive and well. Unreal. Unreal. Let's talk about 2 earthquakes in Vanuatu. USBS today shows one 5.2 earthquake, but Earthquake Tracker shows 2 5.2 earthquakes down here in the South Pacific in Vanuatu today. Okay? Incredible. Incredible. 2 earthquakes instead of 1. We typically do get, and this has been happening for probably 3 years now. For the past 3 years, we've been getting twin earthquakes all over the globe. This is just the same thing. USGS shows us 1. There were actually 2. 2 earthquakes at the very same moment over here in Vanuatu today. Okay? Now, with that earthquake over in New Hampshire, Concord, New Hampshire, late last night, early this morning, there has been other seismic energy that I want to confirm for you. Okay? First off, let's go over to Mineral, Virginia, north of North Carolina. Look what we have here. Nothing but tremors here. Again, we've told everyone that the Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing the North American Fault in a south-southwesterly direction. Here in Virginia, we're showing seismic energy here as a result of the Atlantic Plate pushing on the eastern North American Plate. This confirms it. Okay? First in New Hampshire, then over here in Virginia, but I'm not through. I'm not through at all. I want to show you something else. Okay? Let's go over to Sumter, South Carolina. Earlier this week, we showed you a lot more earthquake activity, seismic activity in Sumter, South Carolina. Sumter, South Carolina is south of Lugoff and south of Elgin, South Carolina. Why is this important to understand? Because just 2 days ago, Elgin, South Carolina had a 2.7. And we showed that information on the Sumter, South Carolina seismogram that day. Okay? Today, there's just barely tremors in Sumter, South Carolina. The seismic energy around Sumter, South Carolina, Elgin, and Lugoff, South Carolina, has subsided. It has not stopped, but it has subsided. At least there's only very minor tremor activity in Sumter, South Carolina. But wait, we're not done yet. Let's go over south to Savannah, Georgia. Look at this. This is Savannah, Georgia this morning. Except for the zigzaggy, abstract waves you see here at the top of this seismogram, look down towards the bottom half this morning. This is all tremor activity in Savannah, Georgia. That's incredible activity. The entire North American plate is moving. It's moving. Let's look at Savannah, Georgia this afternoon. This is where the crap kicks the can. Look at this. Now we have full-blown earthquake activity in Savannah, Georgia. just like we had in Sumter, South Carolina a few days ago. Okay? This is full-blown seismic activity. Okay? We're having 2.5 to 3.0 activity. 2.5 minor earthquake, all the way up to 3.0 here. This is not as bad as what happened in Concord, New Hampshire last night, but this is definitely on the southern end of the eastern United States. This is incredible information. Okay? Incredible information. And we can't let it go. We're seeing seismic activity up and down the entire east coast of the United States. And not to be outdone, let me show you the USBS map. Okay? This is where it hits the fan. I'm going to show you really quick here. Okay, I'm showing you Mindanao, Philippines. Okay, really quick. They're showing 2 earthquakes off the northeast side of Mindanao, Philippines. Okay, that's all they're showing there. But wait, what else has happened? Let me show you what has happened over there in Mindanao, Philippines. Okay. USGS showed 2 earthquakes. What a crock of crap. I'm calling it out. I have to call it out. We cannot allow this agency to just come off the top and say, oh, there's only 1 or 2 earthquakes. Look what we've really had. Okay? I went to Earthquake Tracker and pulled this off after a 5.7 earthquake hit this morning. It hit at 6:28 a.m. this morning. 5.7. They're showing 2 earthquakes. Look at all these other earthquakes here. Okay? 6 other aftershocks. This is also 5.7 aftershock of that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that we had here just 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that hit in this exact location. Now we're still having aftershocks. Today a 5.7. The seismic energy, the large seismic energy is still in the area. Remember me telling everybody after that earthquake hit, it came out as a 7.7 major earthquake. They downgraded it immediately to a 7.5. I got to work and started deep diving into the data. The data showed it was at least an 8.0 right off the top. What we found out 24 hours later was the ground was still shaking. 9.0, 10.0 magnitude quake. 21 hours of ground shaking. 21 hours of body wave shaking from that quake. And as you can see, the area off of Mindanao Island, Philippines is still shaking. It has not stopped. Okay? It's incredible. It's incredible what they tell us. It's incredible that they continue to lie. When all the other evidence that we start gathering shows up, the agency turns out to be sticking it out of their nose. They're literally not even looking at the hard data. They can't be. They're just throwing information out there as if nobody's going to check on them. Okay? Hope Taylor's in the chat says the New Hampshire area had an earthquake last night. though it's supposed to be in a 2.7, a lot of people felt it. Exactly. A lot of people felt it. A minor earthquake. People usually don't feel a minor earthquake unless it's at least, or not, they don't usually feel a minor earthquake, but they feel earthquakes about 3.0, 3.5 and larger. They feel ground vibration at 3.0, 3.5. In this case, one person said it felt like somebody slammed into his house. Okay? Quite a few people felt like their house is going to come apart. USGS, again, has no clue. I'm sorry to say, this is the same agency, ladies and gentlemen, the same exact agency that I looked up to 30 or 40 years ago when I was in college. Unreal. I looked up to them. At the time, I believed everything that they said. Now, 40 years later, they have no clue. They haven't a clue, period. That's what the problem is. Calvin McLean is here in the chat, says it was one heck of an earthquake for sure. And I'm not sure it was not man-made, just saying, everyone. It could have been. It could have been man-made. I don't think so, though. There is no evidence of it being man-made. None. Now, we have talked about man-made earthquake down in Puerto Rico. I briefly spoke about it last night. I want to show you that. Okay? Let's leave this earthquake here. Let's go over here to the USGS map again. Again, they clearly have no clue what they're talking about. It's sad. It's just so darn sad it's not funny. Okay? Let's go over to this map and I'll show you what man-made earthquakes do. Okay? In 2019, a agency, and I don't want this put out in the chat. Please do not put this name in the chat. We have had problems with YouTube. I don't want this name put in the chat at all, right here. In 2019, this agency lit up 3 different facilities. One in Norway, one in Russia, and one down in northwestern Australia. They triangulated Puerto Rico. They caused a lot of destruction. When they triangulated Puerto Rico, and we at the time gathered all the evidence to prove it. I'm just talking about it now, but at the time, we gathered all the evidence to prove exactly what happened. So USGS could not get out of it. That agency I just showed you could not get out of it either. We proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt what happened. That earthquake hit right here, the first one, December 26, 2019, one day after Christmas. 8.0 earthquake, December 26, 2019. Today, probably not more than 100 miles from that location, today we have a 2.6 near Puerto Rico here. I'm showing you. This earthquake hit in this town. An 8.0 magnitude earthquake hit this town. It destroyed a lot of infrastructure. It destroyed a lot of homes and businesses here in Puerto Guerra, Puerto Rico, and all over southwestern Puerto Rico here. Okay? Let's look at these other earthquakes as well, because they also are aftershocks from that quake. Here's another 2.7 here. Out here, off the coast, this is a 2.8. This is southeast of Guanica, Puerto Rico. Guanica, Puerto Rico. One of my best friends, who is the captain of the Puerto Rican police force, lives in Guanica, Puerto Rico. We interviewed him at the time, and we interviewed him on the air several more times after that. I've spoken to him many times after that. He's a good man. I had him on the air one night, and he had his camera on his computer, and behind him the earth shook, and the blinds over his window shook very hardly, very hard. He said that they were having a 3.5 at that time. An aftershock. An aftershock. This is a 2.8 offshore from Guanica, Puerto Rico. This earthquake here is a 2.6. 6 kilometers, 3 miles southwest of Guanica again. Incredible. This area of Puerto Rico is still shaking 4 years later. Earlier this week, there were no earthquakes 2 days in a row. I found it hard to believe that that's happened, because every day since that 8.0 earthquake hit, there's been aftershocks. But that's not all, folks. There's more. 2 days after the 8.0 happened, 2 days later on December 28th, an 8.4 hit. An 8.4 magnitude earthquake hit. So we had 2 major earthquakes here in southwestern Puerto Rico, caused by that agency. We proved it. Okay? We proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. These agencies think that they can just destroy property, that they can destroy life. That's what they did. People died. People died. People were hurt. People could not even live in their houses because their houses were so badly damaged. Some parts of Puerto Rico are not really developed. Some parts are all almost mimicking a third world country. And yet, Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. They have U.S. senators and congressmen that represent them. They have a republic form of government in Puerto Rico. But the bad thing about the government of Puerto Rico is that those politicians are very corrupt. And I could go into the politics of Puerto Rico on and on and on. Dominic and I have talked profusely about what's happened in Puerto Rico. I have a lot of friends in Puerto Rico besides Dominic. One of my best friends that I used to work with in San Diego, who was at the time a police officer with me, he and I are very good friends, very, very close friends, even today. He lives in the capital of Puerto Rico, and he's told me a lot of stories about the politics, a lot of stories about the people in Puerto Rico himself when he was in San Diego and since then. The same thing. The same thing is going on. Calvin McLean still is saying, still getting aftershocks from that man-made earthquake today. Absolutely. That's what's happening. Okay? I hate to call a spade, but that's exactly what's happened. That's exactly what's happened. And there's other earthquakes all over. All over. Southeast of Puerto Rico here. There's a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake here. Just southeast of Puerto Rico. We go north. In this case, this is off the coast north of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay? Another 3.8. North of there, this is on the Cayman Ridge. The Cayman Ridge Trench starts over in Guatemala to the west. It heads east and it goes south of the Cayman Islands. It goes north as it travels east. It goes north of Jamaica. It straddles the southern coast of Cuba. It carries all this seismic energy. Today, just north of the Dominican Republic, what do we have? On the Cayman Ridge, we have 5 earthquakes sitting here right on the ridge itself. This is a 3.6 small earthquake. This is a 4.0. This is a 3.8. This is a 3.8. This is another 4.0. All of this energy came from Central America. Central America. This earthquake here in northeastern Dominican Republic is a 3.0. Southeast of the Dominican Republic, over here in the Mona Passage, the Mona Passage is a body of water between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. We have a 3.5 here. Just off the coast, northwest of Puerto Rico, also in the Mona Passage, we have a 2.8. All this energy over here near the Dominican Republic and north of the Dominican Republic came from the Cayman Ridge. Came from the Cayman Ridge. Let's pull this back and show you exactly where the Cayman Ridge is. Okay? The Cayman Ridge skirts to the south of the Cayman Islands here. Then it drops south and continues westbound through the Caribbean here, all the way over here to Guatemala. What's interesting about this? Look at this. There's absolutely no seismic energy shown here in Central America today. Nothing. How is that possible? How is it possible to have no seismic energy in Central America? It's not. It never has been. It never has been. You know, I find it almost impossible to even believe the USBS any longer. I can't. I physically cannot even trust them. Now, I want to show you something. I also want to show you in a minute a 4.0 earthquake over New Zealand. USGS shows nothing. Nada. Not a darn thing. There's plenty of energy over in the Central America region. Plenty of it. And for the agency to not show it, not talk about it, or do anything is a disservice to the people in Central America, to the countries and the people that live there, but it's also a disservice to the people east of there. Because all that energy that comes from Central America goes eastbound through the Caribbean on what? The Cayman Ridge. It always has and always will. Oh, darn it. There's more earthquakes going on as we speak, okay? And I was going to just show you one of the earthquakes that happened today in Central America, and all of a sudden we had another earthquake in the South Pacific, and so it jumped. So just give me a half a shake here. I want to show you this. This is important. Folks, look what I'm showing you here. Look at all the earthquakes here in Central America. If there's earthquakes here in Central America, you can darn well better be sure that that seismic energy is going to float over into the Caribbean and over into the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Look at all those earthquakes there. They're everywhere. Okay? Let's tap this one out. This one is in Nicaragua. This is a 2.9, 3.0 in Nicaragua today. USGS shows none. Nothing. Okay? That's not the only one here. Let's show you another one here. This is a 3.1, also Nicaragua. Okay? It's incredible. And it's not just that. It's not just that. Just off the northern coast of Guatemala, we have a 3.6. Again, where does the Cayman Ridge come from? Guatemala. So we have a 3.6 down here in Guatemala. USGS, nothing. Not a thing. Look at all these earthquakes in southern Mexico. Look at all these earthquakes in southern Mexico. We're not supposed to see these, are we? Unreal. Unreal. Folks, yesterday we had 20 earthquakes in southern Mexico. 2 earthquakes just southeast of Mexico City. Okay? I'm showing you the earthquake map of southern Mexico. They're not showing anything. Not a thing. This is what I'm talking about. They only want to show us what they want to show us and nothing else. Not a thing. Now, I've also showed you the earthquakes up and down the coast from Concord, New Hampshire, all the way through Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia, didn't I? Guess what, folks? There was an earthquake over here in Alabama today. Why did that happen? How did that happen? Number one, this is over on the southeast side of the North American Plate Continental Divide. Folks, this is a 2.5 near Stevenson, Alabama. You can see it's over on the southeastern side of the Continental Divide here on the East Coast. You can see this Continental Divide here. Look at that. It goes all the way north through the United States, all the way up into Canada. All the way up into Canada here. Isn't that something? All the way up here to the St. Lawrence Seaway. That's what happens. This is what happens, guys. Seismic energy, let me just explain this. We can get seismic energy from way up here in the Northern Territories of Canada, the Northern Territories of Canada and Alaska. We can get seismic energy coming through the Rocky Mountains here, all the way down through Canada, Alberta, Canada area, going all the way down into Montana and Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, and Arizona. That seismic energy turns and heads northeast. It dips down here into southwestern Texas. Then it turns northbound and it continues east through southern Oklahoma. Through southern Oklahoma here. Right here. All the way through southern Oklahoma. Then it comes over here through, well, it comes here through the New Madrid Fault area. It continues eastbound until it gets over here in Alabama. Then, this is a Craton edge, guys. I'm talking about the Craton edge. Then, the Craton edge moves north to the east coast. And it goes north all the way here. So, we on the east coast, on the Continental Divide, can actually have earthquakes that start way up here in the north, that go down through the Rocky Mountains and travel over through the central United States, going eastbound through the New Madrid Fault all the way over here, and then those same quakes can move up the Continental Divide. That does happen. But these earthquakes along the coastal areas, they have nothing to do with the Continental Divide. Those earthquakes come as a result of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. And we've given you a lot of talk about what's going on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Okay? We've told you about earthquakes over here in Iceland, and earthquakes are still hitting here. Earthquakes are still hitting here. They haven't stopped. But USGS isn't going to show them to us, are they? Heaven forbid. By the way, the magma is still recharging in Iceland. There are no volcanic eruptions right now today in Iceland. They could happen still again. It remains to be seen if and when they start up again. Okay, but for right now, Iceland is safe. It has been safe. Even though they've had fissures that open up just east or just west of Grindavik, west and north of Grindavik. Nobody's lost their life. No one is even in the area where life could be lost as a result of a volcanic eruption in Iceland. Right now, it's not going to happen. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about what we've talked about? I wanted to make sure we covered this. I felt it was absolutely necessary that we come here and talk about it. There's other earthquakes here in Northern California that USGS is not talking about. There's other earthquakes in Los Angeles that USGS are not talking about. Earthquakes over around San Diego that they're not talking about. Earthquakes over here in Southern California in the Imperial Valley that they're not talking about. Heaven forbid we can get honesty out of the agency. The only earthquake they're showing down here in Southern California today is out in Joshua Tree, California. This is a 3.1 out in Joshua Tree, California. Look how close it is to the San Andreas Fault. It's just east of the San Andreas Fault. But folks, there's more. This earthquake here is also sitting on a fault zone of itself. See this ridge here? This is an earthquake zone itself. The San Andreas Fault is down here. So the 3.1 happened in Joshua Tree National Park today. Okay? The only earthquake that BS is talking about here is in Huntington Beach, California. What a joke. This is a 3.4 earthquake in Huntington Beach. If I wanted to turn this report into everything about LA, I could do it. There's plenty of energy today over here in Los Angeles. The agency refused to talk about it. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That's what it is. Any questions for anyone? Are there any questions from anyone here? I know I've covered a lot in a very short time period. I don't mean this report to go very long at all. I didn't want anybody to be really interrupted because this is the Christmas season. This is a time of giving. This is a shopping season as well. And some people haven't done a lot of shopping yet or aren't finished. I didn't want to interrupt them. I didn't want to cause any problems. I just don't like to do that. My buddy Surgery is here. Surgery is a very dear friend of mine. We've been friends for years, literally years. He lives in northern Utah. He lives up in northern Utah. Good guy, a really good guy. Don Patoka lives south of him down in southern Salt Lake County. They live about 100 miles apart, something like that. Hope is here. Awesome. Awesome. Hope is also a very dear friend of the program and for me too. She's a wonderful lady. We appreciate Hope. She's great. Any questions, guys? Kenita Warrior says, welcome to Texas. I love it. I love it. That's great. Hurricane Heather says, Yuletide blessings to all our family here. I appreciate that. Folks, tomorrow, I want to mention this before we go off the air today. Tomorrow, we're going to have a Christmas special. Every Christmas since we've been on the air, we've had a Christmas special. I prepared a special Christmas message for tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Please join us tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. for a very Merry Christmas celebration. It's going to be beautiful. You're going to find out a lot of great things. We're going to talk about the birth of Jesus Christ and his life and mission. Yes, I get a little bit choked up when I talk about this because Jesus Christ is not just my brother, but he is my best friend. I love the Lord. I talk about the Lord. I've been teaching Sunday school classes for years now because I believe in Jesus Christ. I hope you can join us tomorrow evening, Christmas Eve at 6 p.m. for a very Merry Christmas celebration. Bring your family, your kids, your grandkids, and join us for this celebration. This celebration is for everybody. Earlier today, I made some pumpkin bread. I'm going to make a pumpkin pie and a mincemeat pie in a few minutes. I've got a couple other things that I'm going to bake. Some cookies, for example. Bring your goodies, bring your eggnog, and let's have a good time tomorrow night, Christmas Eve at 6 p.m. with a very Merry Christmas celebration. 6 p.m. here on the Emergency Management Associates channel here on YouTube. I want to invite you to this because this is going to be great. It is going to be very, very good. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Any questions? Sweet Polly Purebred's here in the chat. Thanks for being here, Polly. We love you. She says, hi to everyone. I'm in the middle of making sugar cookies, so just listening. Awesome. Oh, I love sugar cookies. Carol is going to make some Christmas balls. Basically, a sugar dough with powdered sugar on the outside. Luscious, beautiful, lovely, delicious calorie-toting cookies. She's going to make those. We got a lot of stuff going on. We may, Heartsthought is saying, making my 7-layer dip. I may do that as well. Carol and I may have a 7-layer dip. We're thinking of doing the 7-layer dip, though, for New Year's Eve. We're planning that as well. So anyway, guys, we hope you're going to be here. Rob52, my dear friend, says, sorry, he won't be able to watch. He says their church is having a Christmas meeting at the same time. That's wonderful. Please, Rob, tell our friends over there how much I love them. How much I love them. I love all of you. I really do. You guys mean the world to me. But I wanted to tell you about this because, folks, we love you. I love the Savior. This is what we're celebrating, the birth of Jesus Christ. I love it. Our house is very well decorated this year. It's always decorated, but even more so now. Just to give you an idea, our Christmas tree. Our Christmas tree here. A 6.5-foot Christmas tree, very well decorated here. And as you can see, there's things underneath the tree. There's a lot of presents underneath the tree. People have given us things, and we appreciate that. Several of you have sent us Christmas presents, which we really appreciate. Aubrey says she's going to church too also. That's great. That is wonderful. Texas Lady says, pretty tree, thank you. We love that tree. Folks, also something else. Look at this. We decorated outside. We have Christmas lights, and Carol had me put up this Merry Christmas Santa Claus on the outside of our gate. It's cool. It's cool. Anyway, this is what we're doing this Christmas season, and we're going to celebrate Christmas Eve tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So please join us if you can. We would love to have you. You guys are the world. You're my world. You're our world. We'd love to get together with you and celebrate Christmas. So bring your cookies, bring your pumpkin bread, bring your pies, bring your nog, and let's have a celebration. Okay? I hope you have a good rest of the day. I wanted to get this information out because I thought it was important. There are a lot of earthquakes happening. There is some possibility of solar flares still going to happen. I'm just saying. There is a possibility of solar flares still happening. And they're going to promote earthquakes again. It's going to happen. We know that. But just be safe, okay? Be very safe. Be cautious with whatever you do. Be safe out on the roads. There is going to be some very bad weather this weekend. Here on the East Coast, we're going to get rain. Up on the north side, they're going to get snow. Okay? But there's going to be snow all throughout the United States, and there already has been. So if you're out traveling, please be safe. Take care of each other. Love each other. Be prepared for whatever you're going to face, guys. Don't try to do it on your own. Just be prepared, okay? We hope you have a good day. We will be back with you tomorrow evening, 6 p.m., with a very, very Merry Christmas celebration Sunday school lesson. So be with us. We love it. We can't wait to be with you guys. We really look forward to it. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. We will see you on the other side tomorrow evening. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. So be with us, guys. We can't wait to see you tomorrow evening. Take care, guys. Much love. See you soon.